Hey guys, all right, I am back and I got a request to make a video on how I do my stencils on my door hangers. This one's probably gonna be a little bit longer because I have to paint and all that other good stuff. So please be patient and watch the whole thing. Okay, so my stencil that I use is cut out of Oracle 631. I bought a huge roll of this like a year ago and I still have a bunch. So I found it on Amazon, it's a good price, and I use it for every stencil that I make for door hangers. And then I've already went ahead and cut it, I've weeded out my letters, and I've already applied the transfer paper on top that I use. And I just use the one from Walmart, the Contact brand big roll that you can get at Walmart. So I've already put that on top. So basically I'm just gonna go ahead and center this right where I think it's gonna be looking the best. And I think there, it looks really good. So I will do the Hinge method, which if you're not using the Hinge method, you really should look that up because it is a game changer for applying stencils straight and making sure that they don't move when you're applying your stencil to your wood. I'm gonna do my very best to not put my head under the camera, but it's really hard because it's where all the work is happening. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start on this side, and I'm basically going to peel back. Let me see, it's causing a big shadow. I'll move over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna start peeling back the stencil and hopefully everything comes with me pretty good. This is new. Oh, you see there's a piece that's stuck. So what I do whenever a piece gets stuck, if you see right here, it's not picking up the stencils. I mean, the contact paper's here and the stencil's there. What I'll do is I will swipe under it with my little weeding tool, and that usually convinces it to do what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, so I've reached the tape on both sides, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my scissors here, and I'm going to trim away all of this. That's gonna go in the garbage. Okay, now, let's see if I can do this without getting too much of a shadow. So now I'm going to use my squeegee, and I'm basically just going to press down my stencil onto my board. Now, while I love this stencil, it is white, so whenever I do white on white, it does make it hard to see where the letters are, but it was the cheapest color, so I just deal with it. So take these pieces of tape off. From both sides, and then I will peel back the other side, and hopefully it'll just come right up. I personally like the contact paper from Walmart. I think it does a good job. I know some people hate it, but it does a great job for me, and I've never had any problems with it. I'm gonna turn this so that I can squeegee it at a nice angle. Okay. So I'm basically gonna just do what I did on the other side and just go all the way across with my squeegee. Okay, so now that that is pressed down, I'll go over it a few times just to make sure I got a nice, good seal. So when I pull my contact paper back, hopefully it doesn't want to lift up the stencil as well. So I'm going to grab my little weeding tool, and I'm going to start on this corner right over here. All right. So I've got my stencil started. I like to pull back and down, so I always make sure the stencil is folded back down. I don't pull up and away. I make sure it's flat. I feel like that really helps it from pulling the stencil up and tearing or pulling up pieces that it shouldn't be pulling up. And if it does, it's like this is lifting a little, I'll just use my finger and push it down. Like I said, I know some people don't like this contact paper because I think there are transfer tapes that do a much better job, but I've been using this since the very beginning and I think it works fine for me, and I probably will keep using it because the price point is, I think, really good. So as you can see, when I pull straight against, it really comes off really smooth. Okay, so that's it. So we got the stencil off, the contact paper off. And then I'll just go back with my finger and I'll kind of just press down any areas that I feel like I can see might be bubbling. I don't really see. You have to forgive my dog, he's making noise. I don't really see any areas, but I'll just press and make sure everything looks good to go. No bubbles, and I'll go ahead and tape off any areas that are really close to the border so I don't have to worry about getting paint or being super careful when I'm painting. So I'll go ahead and tape right here next to this Y. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a Y right there. Let's see if I get the camera a little closer. You can see there's like a Y, and then it ended, the stencil ended. So I'm just gonna put some tape there. And then I'll put more tape right by this S over here. Again, this just makes it so I don't have to be super careful when I'm painting. I can kind of be a little messy. Not have to worry that I'm gonna get paint on my, this one's a little harder because I already put the hanger on because I was doing some photos with it. So all right, that way I don't get on the door hanger there. And then I'll put a little here by the V, and this just gives me a nice little buffer because I really don't like to spend a lot of time doing this part. I kind of rush through this, probably more than I should, but it always works out good. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you can see the word Happy Valentine's Day. I think you get a pretty good view there. Okay, so I'm going to start with the white paint. When I have a solid background like this, white underneath, I will use the same base coat of white so that any potential bleeds will come out in white. That way when I go with the black, hopefully any bleeds that were gonna occur have already gone through. Now this is the kind of paint that I use. Let me see, make sure this is showing. I use exterior flat paint by Bear, and I use this for all my door hangers, for all the colors on my door hangers. I use this. So it's the same thing I use for the lettering. I have my paint in these little cups because I had these left over from a party that I did. So let me just mix that a little bit. Make sure it's good to go. Okay, and I know some people use makeup sponges and pouncers and all that good stuff, but I'm pretty lazy and I really do not have time for that. So I use a brush, and I'm actually pretty messy with it because in all actuality with the white, I kind of want it to go under. I go kind of, not thick, but I use a pretty good amount because I'm okay with it going under the stencil right now. If it goes under the stencil, so be it. It'll dry white and nobody will know that it's under the stencil. Got a fuzzy on my board there. So I'll get more paint. And I go in an up and down motion for the entire stencil. I just use up and down strokes. And I will do this for all the letters, up and down. Really get the paint on there good. It's not a thick coat, but it's probably a little thicker than I would use. And I'm only gonna do one coat of this white. So that's why I'm kind of putting it on just a tiny bit thick. I really want, if there are any gaps in between the stencil and the door hanger, I want the white to go in them. I want the white to fill up any spaces that might not be visible to the naked eye. So I'll brush, 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 get all the letters going. And I'm gonna go pop this under the fan, let it dry. It literally only takes about a minute or two to dry because the paint dries really fast. And it's very low odor, so that's another good plus about using this kind of paint. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video and I'll be back in just a second so that this can dry. Okay guys, I'm back. So this went under the fan for like a minute and now it's completely dry. So I don't know if the camera angle really shows, but we've got white painted on the stencil. So now I'm going to do a coat of black and it's going to look the exact same as the white looked. So I probably won't make you guys sit through the whole thing because that's really boring, but I'll just do a few letters. And it's just gonna be, again, the up and down motion with the black all through the letters. And I use this method every single time, and every now and again I may have like a tiny bleed, but it's nothing that, sometimes I don't touch it up because I don't know, I don't feel like the letters have to be so super crisp. You know, I think some bleeds are okay. I think it looks like it was painted. I think it kind of adds to the whole door hanger, you know, not so super perfect, kind of whimsical feel about them. So it really just depends, but you'll be able to see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and, you know what, I'll just keep painting, and if I can hopefully fast forward the video, I will, kind of like a time lapse. If not, I'll just trim it. Alright guys, so the first coat of black dried, and I'm going to do a second coat, and the reason is because you can see, I'll put it a little closer, you've got like some light spots here and all throughout, and so the second coat really just makes it so it's really even and it's dark black. So I'm going to go ahead and paint that now, and I'll go ahead and do a time lapse so it'll kind of speed things up. Okay guys, so my second coat of black just finished drying, so it's nice and dry. So here comes the fun part, and I'm really hoping this turns out well because it turns out well every time I do it. I hope that for the video it doesn't do something crazy today. So basically I will just start peeling at any point. It really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna take these pieces of tape on that were my buffer. Let me take this one over here. Okay, now comes the fun part. So I use my little tool here to kind of get under and get started. And you can see so far we've got some pretty crisp lines. And as you can see, it comes up really very easy. This stuff is, it's like, it sticks, but it doesn't stick so well that I'm having to like pull, and my paint underneath is not being affected at all. There's no white paint coming up whatsoever. And I'm not too careful with it. I mean, I've never had a problem with it taking any of my paint from my letters with it. That's not to say it won't ever happen. When I have paint parties and I have the ladies peel their stencil, I make them be way more careful than I'm being right now. I'm like, make sure you go slow, take your time. You know, I don't have them tear it the way I'm tearing it, because, you know, Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. So I make them go very slow, and thankfully we've never had any issues. I'm gonna use this here. Okay, and then getting the middles out, I use my little weeding tool to just get these little insides out. And these weeding tools, these are actually the ones from Harbor Freight that everybody kind of raves about. This is what they look like. I've put electrical tape around mine to kind of give it like a gripper effect, because the metal starts to hurt my finger after a minute or two of holding it really tight. Okay, so there you have it. I have literally no bleeds at all. I'll put this closer for you to see the beauty. Absolutely no bleeds at all, not even one. So there it is, guys. That's what I use. I hope I answered all your questions. I'll do a quick recap on the paint real quick. Bare paint and primer in one, exterior flat paint, and this comes in literally all kinds of colors. If you're wondering about the colors I've used, this red is Stiletto Love from, I want to say it's a bear color. All these are from Home Depot. This bear paint I get from Home Depot. The pink that I chose for my polka dots is, it's called Kiss and Tell. Hopefully you can see that. And then the black, I want to say is Carbon. Yes, the black is Carbon. And I like the black color. It's just a really nice jet black. And I love flat paint. I just love the look that it gives. So I really hope I answered all your questions. If not, comment below. I will be glad to answer your questions. And as always, subscribe to my channel. I'm constantly putting out new videos of how I do things. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see y'all next time.